So welcome to this introductory course to cybersecurity. My name is Emmanuel, and the reason for this course is just to assist those that are getting started into the field of cybersecurity. For those who are really interested in starting cybersecurity as a career, I know it could be difficult getting resources or getting advice on how to get into this career path because it's sort of different and it's a new field which people are getting into in the country or around the world, and without proper guidance you see yourself getting lost and also not doing the right thing, and that could affect the person in the long run. So this course is going to take you through the basics of the things you need to know in cybersecurity. Then also in one of the modules, I'm also going to share with you my experience as someone who works in the cybersecurity field, and then you get to know everything about what it entails to work in cybersecurity, how lucrative it is, everything you need to know. So this is a really good course to assist you throughout your journey. And without wasting more time, let's get started. So before we get started, let me briefly introduce myself. My name is Emmanuel Mbemena, and I have 3 years working in the field of cybersecurity or cybersecurity career. And I have a total of 6 years practicing and volunteering in different capacity in the field of cybersecurity. I've also been a volunteer in a popular organization known as No Go For Maga or Cyber Safe Foundation. Some of you might know that particular NGO. So I'm also a content creator on YouTube. SC Cyber Safe is the name of the YouTube channel where I just teach cybersecurity awareness, how to be safe online, cyber safety for individuals, for organizations, for anyone who is interested in cybersecurity. And recently I started doing things relating to cybersecurity as a career path. So that's what I do on that channel. And I'm also an author, not a major author, but I'm also an author. I wrote a book called Real-Time Vulnerability, and it's a cybersecurity awareness book. The book is meant for both the technical people and the non-technical staff in every organization. So in every organization, you're supposed to have these cybersecurity awareness programs that teaches them on how to be cybersecurity conscious or to have a better cybersecurity hygiene. So this book is supposed to help every individual. You can read it and you will see the type of attacks, or you basically see everything that an organization or you as an individual needs to know relating to cybersecurity and how to be safe. Then I have a passion for teaching people. I love teaching people a lot. That's why I started a YouTube channel in the first place. That is why I am doing this, because I just love teaching people. And then I have passion in cyber security threat intelligence. I love investigating stuff. How did this happen? Could it happen again? So stuff like that. Those are the things that keep me moving. And my hobbies, just like so many of you here, I love watching movies. And I also love creating video content. So I think those are my main hobbies. I have other hobbies, just like so many of us too. So before we get started with this course, we have a few course requirements for you. And the first thing is for you to have a smartphone, which I assume is what you are using to watch this video. So you can have a smartphone or a laptop, but preferably a laptop. Sorry, if you see me looking at my left, it's because I'm sort of looking at my screen to guide me with this. So you need a smartphone or a laptop, preferably a laptop. If you have a computer, that also would suffice. Then you need basic computer operating skills. I know some people watching this might have studied a different thing in their undergraduate degree. You could have done marine biology, you could have done biochemistry or physics or something totally different from cybersecurity or computer science. But at least you have basic computer operating skills. You can use your computer to do Word document, Excel, whatever it is. You have a basic computer operating skills. And the last and the most important requirement is your willingness to learn and also your dedication. Some people might get started with this course, and at a point they might start getting they might almost get discouraged if they see that some of the things that are being talked about are not something that they understand. Don't give up, because that's how cybersecurity is. Cybersecurity is not just something that is easy to just jump in, but it's really interesting and it's really sweet if you start the right way. So that aside, let's look at the learning resources that we'll be using throughout this course. So we'll be having some instructional videos, which is what you're watching right now. So we'll have videos across the different modules, and we have about 6 modules. Then we'll be having Q&A forums, and we'll have live Q&A and some catch-up classes for some people that might have some questions relating to perhaps what was taught in one of the modules. And then we'll have interactive activities, hands-on labs, just a little practical. I didn't want this course to be all that practical or so in-depth in practical, because I know some people that are joining us don't really have any prior knowledge, so we wouldn't go in depth into any practicals or hands-on. Then we have references to real life case studies. So I'm going to reference real life scenarios that happened. I'm sure you must have heard maybe a hack that happened somewhere in Nigeria, somewhere in Africa, somewhere around the world. I'm going to reference it, and I'm sure if I reference it, you'll be able to relate to it, because you know that, oh, this happened. So I'll be referencing that somewhere along the line in the modules. Then we'll be having quizzes and graded assessment. So this is just after every module, you will have a quiz and a grade, and it will be graded, just so that it will sort of be a tester. You'll be able to know, okay, I know this much based on what I've learned, based on what I've heard. So it's just a basic quiz. Then in the end, we will have a final exam, which would qualify you for a course completion certificate. So we would have a final exam, which you will get to answer lots of questions from the different modules, and it will guarantee you a course completion certificate, which will be really good for you when you want to show your knowledge in cybersecurity, and you want to say, oh, I have this knowledge in cybersecurity. This course completion certificate will be good for you out there. Okay, so let's move on to the contents of this entire course. So we have the first module will be the introduction to cybersecurity. We'll be looking at cyber crimes. We'll be looking at some cybersecurity vulnerabilities. We'll be looking at type of cyber attacks. Then in the second module, we'll be looking at data protection and privacy, which is really important, protecting your device and networks, safeguarding your online privacy. Then the third module, we'll be looking at navigating the pillars of cybersecurity. So this is like the most important part. Navigating the pillars of cybersecurity. We'll be looking at introduction to the CIA. What is CIA or what is IAC, depending on what you want to call it. And then what is encryption, what is cryptography, what are data backups. So we'll be looking at some of those things. Then in the fourth module, we'll be looking at defending, detecting, and mitigating cyber threats. So we'll be exploring access controls, type of controls, and the tools for cyber attack mitigation. Then the fifth module will be looking at choosing cybersecurity as a career path. So this module, I'm going to explain and share my experience with you for my journey, basically getting started into cybersecurity to help you be successful in cybersecurity as a career path. Okay, I will be sharing with you all the tips, and this is a very interesting module that you would find very useful. So I want you to stick to the end from the beginning. Just be focused, and I'm sure you would enjoy this entire course. And the last one, of course, is the course final exam. So we'll be testing your knowledge. What have you learned so far? Were you able to grasp most of the things that were taught in this course? And yeah, that is all for the table of contents. So the first module is Introduction to Cybersecurity. So we'll be looking at cyber crimes and cyber attacks. So what is cybercrime in the first place? Because without cyber crimes, then there wouldn't be cybersecurity. So what is cybercrime? So cybercrime is the criminal activities carried out by means of computer or the internet. Okay, so you hear cyber crimes like, oh, someone hacked my Facebook account, someone hacked my Twitter account, someone scammed me on the internet, someone did this, someone did that. All those things are cyber crimes. Okay, anything that happens with computers and on the internet. This is just the most basic definitions, but there are other more complicated definitions. But for our level now, we just need to know that it's a criminal activity that is carried out with use of computing or computing devices like mobile phones and laptops, and it happens along the internet. So what is a cyber attack? A cyber attack is basically an intentional effort to steal, to expose, to alter, to disable, and to render inaccessible or destroy data, applications, or other assets through unauthorized access to a network computer system, and digital device. So this definition is from IBM, which is a popular organization that deals in cybersecurity and other cybersecurity solutions. So in clear terms, cyber attack is anything that is supposed to cause damage to, it could be an individual, it could be an organization. And the damage I'm talking about, the person might be trying to, the aim could be to steal some information, to expose some information, to render some services inaccessible. For example, now if you notice that, oh, your computer, you had some files on your computer and all of a sudden your computer should crash, someone could do that. A cyber attack could make that happen, where you lose all your files or your sensitive information. Maybe you discover that all your pictures that were on your laptop or your computer is now available on the internet, or your website where you post your blog website or something could be hacked, and then they will just deface the website and write different funny stuff on the website. So anything that is supposed to anything that is supposed to just cause harm to a particular computer system or computer network is a cyber attack. Now that we know what a cyber attack is, let's look at who is a hacker. I'm sure most of us have heard the word hacker, and most of us use it anyhow. Oh, a hacker hacked my computer. Oh, a hacker tried to scam me. Oh, a hacker did this, a hacker did that. Now let's look at who exactly is a hacker. So a hacker is a person who uses computer to gain unauthorized access to data or computing systems. Okay, so that is who a hacker is, to gain unauthorized access to any form of data or computer systems. So let's look at a few case studies to help us understand some of these terms that I've explained from the beginning. So let's look at the case study of the hacked betting company that happened around April 2022. I'm sure some of us were aware of the betting company, a popular betting company in Nigeria that was hacked. I wouldn't want to mention the name, but I'm sure most of us already know about that. You can go to Google and you can do your research. So the company was hacked and they didn't have access to their betting platform for over a week. And you know what happens when your platform or your business is down or is brought down for over 1 week. You know how it will affect your business. You will lose lots of money. People will start getting angry. People will leave your business and start going to competitors. So you can see the damage that just one cyber attack, you can see the damage that cyber attack caused that particular company. If they tell you how much funds they've lost, or if they tell you how many customers they lost, if they tell you how people started distrusting their platform, if they tell you the entire experience, you wouldn't believe it. Okay, so that is what a cyber attack or cyber crime could cause. Then we've had cyber attacks on popular banks. At least 5 banks every year gets to be a victim of a cyber attack. So there are some banks that will not disclose to you wherever country you are. Even here in Nigeria, there are some banks that will be hacked and they will not let you know. You wouldn't know, but they could be hacked and they will lose some of their money. Some money will be stolen. They could be hacked and some sensitive details will be leaked to the public, including customer data and some sensitive data, maybe competition, maybe there's a software that they are supposed to release in the market, and this software or this app will make them increase sales or something. But imagine someone leaking the software and leaking the code, leaking everything about the software to the public because of a cyber attack. Then a competitor or another bank would see the code, would see the information, and then quickly implement it, and then they would even release it before that company, and you know what happens. So these are some of the few things that cyber attacks or cyber crimes could do. Then there's also lots of popular social media platforms that have been hit in the past. In 2022, we know of Twitter, we know of I think Facebook also was a victim of a cyber attack where there was a cyber breach and so many people's information were just out there in the public, their names, their emails, and some of those other things. So this is how dangerous cyber attacks could be. So if you look at cyber attacks does not just happen to organizations. Cyber attacks could happen to individuals. It could also happen to organizations. Okay, so it's not just one person that should be concerned about cybersecurity. Everyone needs to be concerned about cybersecurity, either your personal cybersecurity or your organizational cybersecurity where you work. You wouldn't want to be the reason for a cyber attack in your organization, because they would end up getting you sacked or fired, however you want to call it. So it's important for everyone to have this cybersecurity knowledge. And for us that are trying to get into the cybersecurity field, our job is to protect the organization from this type of attacks or cyber crimes by noticing maybe there's something going wrong. You notice it immediately, you report it. There's something happening, you notice it, you try to prevent it. So that is like the role of cybersecurity professionals, to prevent some of these things. Okay, so let's look at the rise of cyber attacks. So whether you like it or not, I think every year, as things are improving, as things are changing, the amount of cyber attacks are increasing yearly. Okay, that is why you must be hearing. That's why cybersecurity is everywhere. We need a cybersecurity professional. We need a cybersecurity consultant. We need a cybersecurity analyst. You are just hearing cybersecurity, because everywhere around the world, there is increase in cyber attacks. Okay, and there are very less cybersecurity professionals to deal with these things. With AI coming into place, people are using AI, people are utilizing AI to pull successful cyber attacks. People are utilizing AI to do a lot of damages. So as things are improving, as tech is getting better, cyber attacks also are increasing. If you look at this statistics, cybercrime is expected to skyrocket in the coming years, and the estimated costs of cyber crimes worldwide is in $1 trillion. So you can see in 2018, you can see the amount lost. In 2019, you can see in 2020. So it keeps rising. 2021, 2022, 2023. This is the expected rise in cyber crimes. The reason they're expecting it to rise is because in 2018, they noticed, in 2018 it was still small. In 2019, it's increased by this percentage. In 2020, it's increased by almost the same percentage. In 2021, it's almost doubled. In 2022, it almost doubled also. And in 2023, we are also experiencing those cyber attacks, and it's more than the last year. So it means we can come to the conclusion that cyber attacks will keep on increasing, and that is why we need cybersecurity professionals to help to stop some of these cyber attacks. So as of November 2022, the data shown here is using the current exchange rates, and it's showing you the amount in dollars. So you can see the highest in 2027. Statistics is saying that we would have lost about $23.82 trillion to cyber attacks or cyber crime. So you can see how, and no organization will want to lose any amount of money, because you know how it is if an organization loses that amount of money. So now that we've known about cyber crimes, cyber attacks, hackers, and all those stuff, what exactly is cybersecurity? So cybersecurity is the practice of protecting your systems. And when I mean systems, I mean computers, I mean servers, I mean mobile devices, electronic systems, networks, and programs from digital attacks. So if you're protecting your computer, someone could gain access to your computer. You need cybersecurity to prevent that. You need cybersecurity knowledge to prevent that. You need cybersecurity tools to prevent that from happening. Someone could gain access to your computers, your database, your servers, your electronic systems, your camera, even some cameras that we have at home. They call them IoT, Internet of Things. All your smart cameras, all those things. People could hack them. They could gain access to those things. Okay, so we have different categories of cybersecurity. When I mean categories, there are things that need protecting by cybersecurity professionals. We have network security. When I mean network security, I mean when you are protecting something like firewall, your router, where you get your internet from. Then there's application security. You need to protect. There are people that protect. In case you don't know, there are people that protect your mobile application, your bank mobile application from getting hacked, and some of these sensitive fintech apps. There are cybersecurity professionals that their work is to look into the codes and try to prevent any vulnerability or from people exploiting anything to gain access to those apps. So that's application security. There's also, when I mean application security, it's not just mobile application. Okay, there's web application. By web application, I mean your website. You need to protect your website. Make sure that anybody that is visiting your website would be safe. Any information they put, their credit card will not be leaked to hackers or all these malicious people or malicious actors. Then there's information security, which is almost like the most important stuff. Information security is really important because when I mean information, I mean data, information about an organization, information about a business, your personal information. Trust me, it's just like you don't want everyone to know, oh, you live in this particular place, that this is your home address. You don't want everyone to have your phone number, because if they have your phone number, if they have your address, if they have your medical data, some of these things could cause damage to you. Because when I mean damage, they could impersonate you. If they have some of your data, like your date of birth, some of your picture, your ID cards, they could basically impersonate you. We've had cases like that in the US during that COVID time. If you know this Hush Puppy and some of these other scammers that were out there, they impersonated a lot of people and they collected COVID grants that the government gave to the citizens. So there's a way they rerouted all those things because they stole those people's identity. So these are some of the things that information security addresses. The next thing we want to look at is cybersecurity vulnerability. So what is a cybersecurity vulnerability? So this is basically any weakness within an organization's information systems, internal control, or system processes that can be exploited by cyber criminals. So what does this mean? It means there could be something in your computer that could make an attacker or a hacker, let me use a hacker, gain access to your computer. There could be something in your website that could make an attacker gain access to your website and then start typing anything in your website or post anything or upload anything to your website. So those things are vulnerability. There could be a vulnerability in your Windows computer that will make attackers gain access to your Windows computer and do whatever they want to do. They can enable your audio, they can turn on your camera. So some of these vulnerabilities enables hackers to gain this type of access. So through points of vulnerability, cyber adversaries are able to gain access to your systems and also to collect some data. So let's look into exploits. So what are exploits? So an exploit is a code that takes advantage of a software vulnerability or security flaw. Okay, so you know when they say something is vulnerable, forget about all the numerous English that is used in all of this. Cybersecurity is really easy to understand if you try to relate it to things that are happening around you. So you know what a vulnerability is. When they say you're vulnerable to maybe to catching cold if you don't wear your shirt, it means you could get cold if you don't wear your shirt. So that's what vulnerability is. If you don't deal with this, a hacker could gain access, or this could happen to you. So this is what an exploit is. But an exploit is a code that takes advantage of any software vulnerability. So there could be a vulnerability on your Windows that you could just write a code, and once the code gets into your computer, it will exploit that particular vulnerability or weakness. So a vulnerability is like a weakness or a flaw in a particular system. So let's look at cyber threats. So what's a cyber threat, or what does threats mean? So any circumstance or event with the potential to adversely impact organizational operations, that is including their missions, their functions, their image or reputation, and organizational assets, is a cyber threat. For example, you have gold in your house, you just withdrew maybe 100,000 naira. What could happen to that money? You have 100,000 naira in your house. It could get stolen.
It could also get lost. It could also get burnt. Imagine fire burning the entire house. So it could get burnt. So all those things that could happen to that money are the threats. Okay. So when you now talk about threat actors could be a thief coming to steal the money. So the thief is the threat actor, someone that's acting on the threat. A vulnerability would be you leaving your door open, or leaving your gate open, or leaving the locker where you kept the money open. So that is a vulnerability. Your money is vulnerable to being stolen, or vulnerable to a threat, and the threat is it being stolen or it getting burnt.
So who is a threat actor? So a threat actor is also known as a cybersecurity threat actor, or malicious actors, as I like calling it. Okay, malicious, the word malicious means someone that is going to cause harm. So malicious actors are individuals or groups that intentionally cause harm to digital devices or systems. And these threat actors exploit vulnerabilities in computer systems, networks, and software to perpetrate a variety of cyber attacks, including phishing, ransomware, and malware attacks. This is also by IBM. Okay, so I would explain later in the course what phishing means, what ransomware is, what malware attacks is. Some of us might know what it is. I will sort of shed more light on those things. So that is who a threat actor is. A hacker can also be a threat actor. Okay, so a scammer, someone that scams people for money, is a threat actor. So now, what's the difference between a cyber threat and a cyber attack? They are sort of two different things, so we need to know what the difference is. So a cyber attack is an active and offensive action where a threat actor is attempting to compromise a system. So when someone is trying to compromise a system, to gain access to a system, to destroy the system, that is a cyber attack. The word attack is the key word there. Okay, so why a cyber threat is the probability that a specific type of attack may occur. Okay, so that is what a cyber threat is. If I put my money in my house, 100,000 naira, the threat is that someone could come and steal it. So the threat there is someone coming to steal the money. That's the threat. Okay, if I leave my door open, the threat is someone entering my door, entering my gates. Okay, so that's a threat, the probability of a specific type of attack to occur. So let's look at threat actors. So who are the threat actors? I've explained who threat actors are, but there are different types of threat actors, and this is what I want to explain them to you, so that when something happens, you know, okay, this is the type of threat actors. Okay, threat actors are people that exploit vulnerabilities. They are malicious actors, like I call them. Okay, so most threat actors always have a motivation. They have a reason for whatever they do. Every hack that happens, maybe a bank got hacked, a betting site got hacked, whatever happens, someone hacked your computer, maybe someone hacked your social media account, there is always a motivation. There's a reason why they are doing it. They don't just say, okay, let me hack. Someone could hack for fun. Those people hacking for fun, they have a motivation, and you would see those type of hackers. Those people that hack to get money, you will see those type of hackers. So you will also be seeing the examples of those type of hackers and the definition of those type of hackers. So the first one we have is cyber criminals or organized crimes. So cyber criminals are people that are mostly after financial gain. So cyber criminals, their motivation is usually financial gain, money basically. So people that you see in this category are scammers, people that are scamming people. Okay, those are cyber criminals. They are trying to get money from you. They could create a fake website where you get to impute your credit card details. Once you impute your card details, they gain access to it. They steal your details. So and they will withdraw your money. So those are scammers. Are also an example of cyber criminals. Then we have a definition. They steal sensitive data, money, and personal information. Okay, with this personal information, they could use it just like hush puppy that I keep referencing. They use your personal information they can get money on your behalf. They can get money on your behalf. They can withdraw money on your behalf because they already have your data or your personal information. And the targets, who do these people target? They target individuals most especially. And then there's also some of them target businesses, like small businesses, and they target data-rich organizations. That's organizations that deal with a lot of data. Okay, so when they steal people's data, like their phone numbers, their emails, they could just send them lots of emails that once they take action, they end up scamming them or getting money from them. So those are those type of criminals, the people that are after financial gain. Then there's what they call nation states. Okay, the motivation of these nation states actors or threat actors is just espionage and theft. Okay, that's their aim. Most countries that have spies, they are called, some of these hackers are called, or some of these threat actors are called nation states. Okay, so you see people in CIA. Okay, because the CIA, they could be gaining access to maybe Russia intelligence. They could be trying to hack Russians, they could be trying to hack China, they will be trying to just get any form of information from them. So these are people that I classify as nation state threat actors. Then they may fund or threat actor groups to perform a variety of malicious activities on the networks of other governing entities. So this is usually around the government. Is usually like government attacking government of another country. So it's usually up there, the highest level of threat actors. Then you have terrorist groups or cyber terrorists. So their motivation is usually to cause harm or destruction to further their cause. For example, we have ISIS, we have Boko Haram. So if you don't know Boko Haram, I'm sure you should know that Boko Haram, for example, they have they have people that are really tech savvy in terms of they have threat actors it's not really an organization, or in their movements. Exactly, they have threat actors in their movement that help them. That's how they can easily hide their identity. They can broadcast videos to people without you being able to trace where they're coming from. They do this carefully because they have people that have the technicality to be threat actors. Okay, so you also see this in places like US, in countries like US. You've seen terrorist groups where that would just, even in other countries, that all of a sudden they will just hack a particular TV station and then they will start broadcasting to those stations. If you listen to the news, or if you put your ears down, you see some of these things happen. So it's not just a theoretical stuff. It's not just movies. These things happen. Okay, so they target this terrorist group, they target businesses, they target states machinery, and like they try to maybe hack into all these rockets, and they try to just like what you see in movies. Typically, most of the things you see in movies about that are depicting all these terrorist attacks, that they hack rockets, try to launch the rockets. Those things are things that happen in real life. But cybersecurity professionals are people that prevent some of those things from happening. Okay, so they target critical infrastructure or services that will cause the most damage or disruption. So when these people strike, when these cyber terrorists strike, it's always really crazy. People die in such incidents. A lot of things happen. If you heard of 9/11 that happened in US, that reference of 9/11, a lot of people died, and it was because of cyber terrorists or cyber security or cyber attacks, because of a cyber attack. Okay, so those ones are really dangerous because they cause a lot of damage. Then we have insider threats. You right now could be an insider threat. Most likely, perhaps 80% you're an insider threat, but you would not know. Okay, and what is their motivation? The motivation is usually information gathering and revenge. The examples: a bank staff or an IT staff. For example, I could be, maybe I've been in an organization for a long time, and all of a sudden someone just came in and then they pay the person higher than me, and I'm like, we see these things in organizations. This thing I'm talking about happens in different organizations, and then the person feels like, oh, how come they're paying this person more than me? This person that just joined this organization, they're paying the person more than me, and the person just starts becoming disgruntled. So when you keep some of those people in your organization, you end up they will end up compromising you in the end, because they are no longer happy. Anything can happen. So if someone promises them that, please give us access to this your network, give us access to your system, your computer system, give us access to be able to withdraw money from the organization or from the teller or from this, they really don't mind, because they will get their share. At least that's the only way they can get money to add on top of whatever they are being paid. So you see insider threats. So the insider threats are people in the organization that cause harm to their organization. Okay, that they are the people that lead some of those cyber attacks or that make it possible. Okay, so we have an IT staff. And IT staff also could be someone that has access to passwords of certain things. If the IT staff is not careful, if the information of if the password should leak, then it's the person's fault, and then the person it can be tagged as insider threat. Okay, so you can see working against the organization while helping threat actors, either for monetary gain or revenge. Okay, I've explained this. So there are two types of malicious insider, and there are two types of insider threats. Sorry, there's malicious insider and then the incautious insider. So the malicious insider, like I explained, is the one that is trying to seek revenge, or the disgruntled one, the one that is not happy, and then does not mind giving information to cyber criminals. Okay, so that type of person is a malicious insider. But the incautious insider is the one that is perhaps innocent, but because of the person's carelessness, because of the person's lack of cybersecurity knowledge or hygiene, the person maybe did something that compromised the entire system, and maybe he left password somewhere and hackers got access to it, and then they caused damage. It's because the person did not have cybersecurity knowledge. That is why that happened. The person didn't do it on purpose, but it was the person's fault. So that is an incautious insider. So we have truth seekers, or mostly called script kiddies. So you see this everywhere. You mostly see it as script kiddies in any place you look at. So what are script kiddies? So these people are, their motivation is just for fun, or to troll, or to boast, or for revenge. So for example, most people that want to most people that want to hack, for example, now I could say I want to learn how to hack, and then why am I learning how to hack? Maybe just to boast and say, oh, maybe I'll tell my brother I can hack your computer, I can gain access to your computer, I can see your camera, I can do this. So that is their motivation. Some might just use it to cause revenge. Maybe someone did something bad to them, they'll say, okay, I'll gain access to your computer, I'm going to expose some of the things in your computer, blah blah blah. So these are script kiddies. They just do this stuff for fun, carelessly. So script kiddies does not necessarily mean the person is small. You could be a script kiddie, I could be a script kiddie. It's just anyone that does not have that sort of expertise knowledge in cybersecurity, but someone who is just picking up cybersecurity tools and just trying them out to gain results. So those are script kiddies. So most times they are new to hacking or new to cybersecurity. Then they use tools designed by other attackers and they don't have much experience. So their targets, they look for easy or vulnerable computers using known vulnerabilities. Okay. Then the final one we have, so it is supposed to be number 6. We have hacktivists. So hacktivists are their motivation is usually exposing secrets or disrupting services. For example, some people could know that this, maybe you say this person is doing this in this organization, or this organization that the cause of something happening, and then you want to expose their secrets or what the organization have been doing. So you hack their website, you hack something, and then expose the information to the public, so that the public will see what the organization has been doing. So we have examples of hacktivists. F Society, this one is a popular one that was in the US. And then I think it was in a movie that they used this. I'm not sure if it's a real reference, this F Society, but they were hacktivists. So what did they do? They focus on creating some form of awareness to something perceived as evil, and it could be political or social. Okay, so for example, if something is happening in Nigeria, maybe in the government, someone could say, oh, I must expose this, and then they start hacking, they start doing all those stuff just to expose those information, so stuff like that. So those are hacktivists. Their aim is usually political or social. Okay, now what is the difference between hackers, threat actors, and cyber criminals? Sometimes we use them interchangeably. You might not be wrong, but at least let's know the difference between these people. So one important thing you should note is that not all threat actors or cyber criminals are hackers. Let's read it again. Not all threat actors or cyber criminals are hackers. So by definition, a hacker is someone who has technical skills to compromise a network or computer system. But some threat actors or cyber criminals don't do anything more technical than just leave an infected USB drive for someone to find and use. So if I, for example, now if I leave a USB drive that is already infected, maybe I can go to the dark web. There's what they call dark web. I'm sure some of you might have heard it. I might go there and purchase a USB drive that once someone should plug it into their computer, it will give me access to whatever is in the person's computer. So I didn't do anything. I didn't create the script to do that. I didn't use any tool. I don't know how to do anything, but I have that particular USB, and once I drop it and someone plugs it into their computer, I gain access to the person's computer. So I am not a hacker, but what I am is a threat actor. Okay, so or I can send an email with a malware attached. So if I do that also, I'm a threat actor. So not all hackers are threat actors or cyber criminals. For example, some hackers are called ethical hackers. I'm sure you must have been wondering, so who are the ethical hackers? Are they bad, or what do they do? So ethical hackers may be working with a particular organization to see if an organization has a vulnerability that could be exploited by one of these cyber criminals or threat actors. Okay, so ethical hackers have permission to do some of these things or to test. They do everything carefully with the permission of the organization. Okay, they don't do anything they do maliciously. Okay, so those are ethical hackers. So essentially, They impersonate cyber criminals and help organizations and government agencies to test their computer systems for vulnerability to cyber threats. So that's what ethical hackers do. They just test. Okay, they don't have any malicious intent. Their own is just to test and see and then report back and say something like, oh, I found some vulnerability in your computer system. I found some vulnerability in your firewall. I found this. I found that. You need to fix that right now, or someone could exploit it and then you will get hacked. So that's their role. Okay. Then we have some hacker types, or the different type of hackers. We have the black hat hackers. I'm sure you must have heard that. These are just, it's not as if they put on black hat or black cap. They just use the words to describe malicious hackers, people that have malicious intent. Okay, so that's black hat. Then the white hats are ethical hackers. So these ones, they don't have any malicious intent, and they usually have permission to test and try to break into platforms or computer systems to see any vulnerability, so they will report it, and then those vulnerabilities are patched or dealt with or closed. Okay, so that is what a white hat is. But a gray hat is someone that is in between. Sometimes the gray hat is usually not giving, or most times the gray hat is not giving permission to hack anything. But when the person hacks and finds any vulnerability, sometimes they report it, sometimes they just keep it to themselves, or use it to boost. So they are sort of in between. Okay, but they don't wear any of these hats. They don't wear black hats or white hats. It's just used to reference them. So those are the type of hackers, or the hacker types that we have out there. The next thing we'll be looking at is attack vectors. So this is under the type of cyber attack. So we are looking at the so this is a subsection of type of cyber attack. So we are looking at attack vectors. So we have different attack vectors. We have social engineering attacks, and these are attacks that are targeted at human beings by manipulating human beings. Okay, so if someone should call you and say, hello, we are from your bank and we need this from you, there's a code we sent to you, please can you send it back to us? So that type of attack is social engineering. So they are manipulating you to take action. Okay, someone could send you an email and pretend to be from your bank and say, oh, please, you need to click on this link to do this, to do that. They are manipulating you. That's a form of social engineering attack. Then there's application or service attack. So this type of attacks are targeted at devices, applications, and softwares. So any type of attack that's targeted at your computer, your mobile phone, your routers, your switches, and all those type of networking devices, those are application or service attacks. Your application attacks could also be to your website, anything application. It could be a web application, it could be a mobile application. So those are application or service attacks. Then we have wireless attacks. So this type of attacks are targeted mainly at networking devices and networks. For example, your wireless connection and communication. I remember when I first started learning cybersecurity, or when I first started in cybersecurity, I was learning hacking, how to hack. And I didn't know prior to then that someone could hack your Wi-Fi and gain access to your Wi-Fi and be sharing your Wi-Fi with you. So I'm sure sometimes you'll be wondering, how come my Wi-Fi is always finishing? The moment I turn on hotspot, it seems like like the thing is just being drained, or who is connecting to my hotspot, who is doing this, who is doing that. It's because someone can access, or someone can hack you and gain access to the password and then share your Wi-Fi with you. Someone could do what they call a deauthentication attack, where they would just prevent your Wi-Fi from working. You could have a router or a modem, and someone could keep deauthenticating it and it would keep disconnecting. So there are some of those things. I did them in the past because when I was learning, I tried it with my own wireless adapter, or my own router, and I saw that those things were possible. So these things happen even in larger scales. They could hack an organization, and all of a sudden, maybe you're using your Wi-Fi in your organization to work, and all of a sudden, it's just disconnecting, it's not working. Cyber attackers could be doing that. And when they do that, business goes down, things are just messed up. So those are wireless attacks. They target wireless devices, maybe cameras, and so anything wireless. So those are wireless attacks. Then there are cryptographic attacks. And cryptographic attacks target password related, or their password related attacks. So any attack that is trying to get your password or decrypt your password, or that is a cryptographic attack. So let's further dive into some of these types of cyber attacks. So we have a phishing attack. So a phishing attack is also a type of social engineering attack where the attacker pretends to be a reputable entity or a trusted contact, just like someone will call you and say, oh, I'm from your bank's customer service, do this, do that. So that is a social engineering attack. And then they send fake or malicious link. So, but phishing attack, when we say phishing attack is usually done via email. Okay, it's usually done via email. And they gain access to your account or collect your PII. PII means personally identifiable information. Your PII could mean your name, your address, your date of birth, your phone number, your email, your blood group, your genotype, all those information about you. So they could collect those information. Then I'm sure some of you might have been victims of phishing attacks, but you would not know. So I'm sure you must have seen WhatsApp messages where they say, oh, the government is giving free laptops. Click on this link to accept those laptops, or to register to be one of those people that will get those laptops. And you click on those links. Once you click on those links and take any action, if you click on the link and put in your information, your name and all those things, they've gotten your data. What they can do with the data is they can use it to impersonate you. And even on clicking that link, some of those links could maybe cause you to get malware on your device. So some of those attacks are really robust. Then it can mislead you to take further damaging action, but that is installing malware. So someone could send you an email, maybe in your work email or your personal email, and say, please do this and do this, or try to get this for free, or they'll just try to manipulate you, because that's the intent of social engineering attack. So once they manipulate you and you fall for it, then they could get you to do anything. So let's look at social engineering attacks, because social engineering attacks are like the most they are the easiest to perform. Most organizations or most people that fall for cyber attacks, all these cyber breaches, are mostly because of social engineering attacks. So they are really powerful, and you really need to take note of this. So social engineering attacks make use of these 7 different things. The first one is authority. So they try to exploit authority. Remember I said it's manipulation. Everything is all manipulation. So they could send you an email saying that the email could look like it's coming from your CEO, the CEO of your company. Okay. So the person is exploiting authority. So you would think it's the CEO that sent you the mail. If you don't look closely, you will take whatever action and then you will get affected. The person could use intimidation, and either as a colleague or a senior colleague, or also your CEO, to do whatever to get you to take any action. Consensus, we have scarcity. Scarcity, someone could say, oh, you need to take this action quickly. We have only 5 spaces left. If you don't click on this link to buy it, it will finish. So we are selling this iPhone 13 for 100,000, or this iPhone 14 for 100,000 naira, or maybe they'll make it a bit believable. They'll tell you it's for 300,000 naira. iPhone 14 that you would ordinarily get for around 600, they'll tell you it's sold for 250, rush sales. And then they're telling you that it's almost finishing, it's remaining 5 more. When you see something like that, when you see emails like that, you'll be tempted to say, oh, I want to buy this iPhone. And they wouldn't just send you those random emails. Some people must have used what they call reconnaissance or information gathering to maybe gather information to know that you want to buy an iPhone. So when they now see that you are someone that really wants to buy an iPhone, maybe you don't have money, then they can now send some of those emails to you and reduce the price of that iPhone to get you to take action. And once you click on those links or do whatever they tell you to do, then you will get affected. So there's familiarity, there's trust, there's urgency. So urgency is another really potent stuff that they use in social engineering attacks. You see something like, you need to do this quickly. Okay, your computer is currently infected with virus. You might receive such emails. Your computer is infected. Click on this link immediately to clear the virus. Or you see it on your phone. This happened to your phone. Your battery is getting low because your phone has been affected. Do this quickly. Or someone might say you will lose out this opportunity to get to be part of the winners of something, you need to take action now, do it quickly. So they employ urgency. So these are some of the social engineering attacks. You can go after this module, after this course, you can just go and read about social engineering attacks. I think I'll try and leave some references to books that you can read and better understand how cyber attackers or cyber threat actors use social engineering to make their attacks really successful. Looking at the types of social engineering attacks, there are different types of social engineering attacks. There is spear phishing. Okay, spear phishing is where a type of social engineering attack that is sent mostly always via email or mostly via email, and it is targeting a particular person. So it's either it's targeting me or you. So for example now, I know that you want to get an iPhone, but maybe you don't have money, and I could send you an email and say, click on this link to get your iPhone quickly. So it's because I know you wanted an iPhone, so I'm sending you that phishing email with that link. So once you click on the link, you will get affected, or I can take whatever action I want, either to gather your details or to make you download something. So that is spear phishing. Spear phishing is usually targeted at someone. It's not like the regular phishing that is just sent randomly to over 30 people. Okay, I could just send an email with a link to over 30 people at once. That is not spear phishing. Spear phishing is just like throwing a spear. You're trying to get a fish, or you're trying to kill an animal. You're aiming one animal. If you're with a spear, you don't throw it at different places. You target one animal, you target one thing. So that is what a spear phishing attack is. It's targeted at one person. Okay, unlike the regular phishing attack that is targeted at different people, you just send the random emails to anybody. You don't know what the person likes, you don't know what the person wants, but you just send it hoping that someone will fall victim of that attack. So there's smishing. Smishing is a form of phishing, but smishing is done via SMS. Okay, that's where they crafted this word from, smishing. So you might receive an SMS, maybe a job opportunity. You see something like you want to get this job right now, you need to click on this link, or you need to take this action, or the NYSC, most of us that have done NYSC or those that have done their National Youth Service Corps stuff, you see, my name is this, your friend referred me to you, we have a job for you in NNPC, blah, blah, blah. That's smishing. And smishing is also someone sending you any SMS sent to you that is supposed to cause any form of harm is a smishing attack. So vishing is also similar to smishing, but vishing is usually a voice call. So vishing, for V for voice, V for vishing. So vishing is a voice call, just like hackers or scammers that call you to get your OTP, to get your code. Those are vishing attacks. Okay, it's a type of phishing attack, but because it's done over the call, because they call you, then you can classify that as vishing. You can also call it phishing, but just to be more specific, you say, oh, I was a victim of a vishing attack, or my friend was a victim of a vishing attack. A cybersecurity professional knows what you're talking about. Okay, so there's what we call tailgating or piggybacking. So tailgating is usually used in just to gain access to a certain maybe organization, or you're trying to gain access to something and then you're following someone that already has an access to it. Maybe you're trying to enter a restricted area, and then you might lie and say, okay, you're a plumber, or you want to fix something, or you just sort of follow someone that has access, but you personally don't have access. So that is called tailgating. Then there's a scareware. Scareware is just supposed to scare you into taking action. So if you see something like all those things you see on your browser, like your battery is getting hot, click on this now to download this, do this. So they are trying to scare you. Or they'll say your computer has been hacked. We see that your Windows is out of date and you currently have some virus on your computer. Click on this link to take action now to clear the virus. So that is scareware. So once you click on that, on some of those things, you will get affected. Then there's whaling. So whaling is usually targeted at high profile people in organizations, like the CEO, the COO, that's chief operations officer, or the CFO, chief financial officers. But whaling is usually targeted at high ranking officials in organizations. Okay, so we have honey traps or romance scams. So this is a type of social engineering attack that scammers mostly use. So scammers use this type of attacks to get victims to giving them money or taking a form of action. So all these type of attacks are social engineering attacks. There are other type of social engineering attacks, but these ones are like the most common social engineering attacks that are out there. So another type of attack is a malware attack. Malware attack. So what is malware? Malware is also known as malicious software. So it's crafted from, malware word is crafted from malicious and software. You know what malicious is? Something that is going to cause harm. Software, you know what a software is. So malicious software. We have different type of malicious software. So just like a vehicle, when I mean vehicle, a car is a vehicle, a truck is a vehicle, a van is a vehicle, a lorry is a vehicle, a motorcycle is a vehicle. So these are different types of vehicles. So just like malicious softwares, we have different types of malicious softwares. Okay, so we have a virus. So a virus could, or a malicious attack, a malicious software could have virus in it, or it could, the main aim could be to push virus. So virus usually requires the intervention or clicking or running of a program. Okay, so if someone sends you a particular application and you click on it, if the application is malicious and you click on it, you can get hacked. So it could be embedded in zip files, in spreadsheets, and it spreads from one computer to another. So you see, so maybe you find a USB drive on the floor, and you just pick it up and say, oh, let me see if there's an interesting movie in this USB. You don't know who put that USB there. You don't know if that USB is infected. I remember when I was a victim of a shortcut virus. I was still in my undergraduate years those days in Unilag, where we just kept on sharing flash drives for movies. Oh, I want to collect this movie. I beg share me this movie, or share this movie with me. And then somehow, I don't know what caused it, and my laptop or computer was infected with what they call shortcut virus. And what it does is that all your files become shortcut. So when you click on the file, it does not open. So I think I got it when I was trying to download, or when I was trying to collect movies from someone, or maybe when I downloaded something. I can't remember how I got it, but all my files were corrupted. And that time I was doing my project, and I had not backed up my file because I just had a file on my computer. Okay, I had a file on my computer and my project file, and I had not backed it up. And all of a sudden, it turned into a shortcut. So when I clicked on it, it was not opening. A file that is usually 20 MB or maybe 10 MB became 1 MB or 1 KB. So that's how all my files were. They were in kilobytes, they were in KB, so they could not open. So that affected my computer. I had to format the entire computer, so it really affected me. So that is what a virus is. And for a virus to run, or for it to be active, someone needs to click on it or take intervention. So if you don't click on a virus, if you don't click on it to run, then it wouldn't really be active. So that's how virus works. It needs someone to take action on that particular program, on that particular virus. So you see virus mostly in all these executable files, .exe files. Some of them, if you're not careful, some of them could be virus. Then we have worms. So worms is a type of malware that does not require user intervention to take action, and it propagates itself, which means it spreads by itself. So for example, if we are both connected to, there are some computers in organizations that you connect with this Ethernet cable, you connect it, and this person connects it. Once one person's computer is affected with a worm, it can spread through the network. So every other person that's connected through that same network would get infected with that worm. Worm does not require you to click on anything or take any action. Once the worm is in your computer, it starts doing its work, either to cause harm or to destroy your files or to gather information or to monitor you. So that's what it is. You don't need any interaction. So we have Trojans. Trojans poses as legitimate software though modified. For example, people that love downloading free games, people will go to torrent sites. Let's download PES 2018 or PES 2020 or PES whatever, or let's download FIFA. Let's go to torrents. Let's download movies. Let's download application. Okay, I need crack of Photoshop. I cannot afford buying the paid version, or I cannot get the paid version of maybe a video editor. And then you go to download from maybe all these torrent sites. Do you think those people that are on those torrent sites, they are not really making any money, but most people there upload those things so that they can gain access to people's computers, so that they can hack you, and when they hack you, they can either maybe try to gain some money from you or something. So you really need to be careful. Sometimes I've seen so many legitimate softwares, or softwares that are posing to be the legitimate ones, but they are actually Trojans. You might see you have VLC software, you have different types of software. You might want to download the VLC software, but you will not know that you're in a website that is set up by a malicious actor. And the moment you click on that website to download that particular VLC, you think is VLC software, but you've downloaded a Trojan, and once you click on it to install it, you've gotten affected. So we have a spyware. Spyware steals confidential data and monitors your activity. So a spyware most times can be your phone, your mobile phone you could be using now could be affected with spyware, but you wouldn't know, because the aim of spyware is just to monitor whatever you're doing. So it could be monitoring your keystrokes, whatever you're typing, your messages, your WhatsApp messages, your banking information, your passwords, everything. A spyware could just be monitoring your activities, knowing what you order, knowing what you browse online. That's what a spyware is doing, and it's sending the information back to the malicious actor that propagated that spyware. Okay, so that is what that type of malware attack does. Then there's ransomware. Ransomware restricts files, data, and resources, and then the network key component. So ransomware is from the word ransom. When you hold something to ransom, it means you're not releasing it until you pay money. So if they kidnap someone, they say you need to pay a ransom. So if you don't pay this ransom, you're not releasing this person. But in this case, it's for your files. Your files are held to ransom. Your computers are held to ransom. I'm sure I've had cases where I had to assist people who have been victims of ransomware attacks, where, for example, now their computer is a victim of a ransomware attack and everything is locked or encrypted. When I mean encrypted, they cannot access anything on their computer. They cannot click anything. They'll just see a particular message that shows you need to pay money in Bitcoins to this particular account, Bitcoin address, or you need to take this action. And until they pay that money, you wouldn't be able to access your files. You wouldn't be able to use your computer. Your computer is almost useless. And the only way to get rid of it is to format your entire system. And on formatting your entire system, you lose your data, you lose your software, anything you've done, everything will be lost, especially if you don't have a backup. And so ransomware is really terrible. They use it in organizations. Also have been victims of ransomware. Hospitals that have automated systems have been victims of ransomware. And you know what it is when a hospital is a victim of ransomware. So most of these cyber attacks are not just targeted at one particular organization. It's not just targeted at banks. It's not just targeted at individuals or fintechs. It's targeted everywhere: hospitals, the government, individuals, everywhere you can think about. As long as there's a computing device, as long as there's a network that you have to connect to, as long as there's a web application like a website, anybody could be a victim of any of these cyber attacks. So we have hardware. So hardware is like propagating ads. You know what ads are? Advertisements. So it displays advertising that is mostly misleading or utilizing resources. So some people, I'm sure some people have been victims of hardware where you might click on something and all of a sudden you are seeing different ads popping up on your phone, on your calendar, even your iPhone. It just starts showing you different ads to buy this product, to do this, to do that. So that is hardware. It just keeps on propagating ads on your phone, and it's difficult to get rid of hardware most of the time, except you have a cybersecurity professional that could assist you with that. Another type of cyber attack we have is password attack. So this is cracking of passwords with password cracking tools like AirCrack. There's AirCrack NG or AirCrack NG. There's Hashcat. There's John the Ripper, and there are different other password cracking tools. So this is just to crack your passwords and gain access to your different systems. It could be your website, it could be your bank app, it could be anything. So there are password attacks that their work is just to crack your passwords. So that is always advisable not to use maybe all these popular or default passwords. Use something that is really strong. Use a strong password. Okay, so there are different types of password attacks. There's brute force. Okay, brute force is a type of password attack where they just start guessing different type of passwords. So it's usually automated. These cracking tools will just automate and try different types of passwords, just guessing different types of passwords. So, for example, if I know that your password is most likely your date of birth and maybe your pet's name, I could just put date of birth and pet's name, and then the tool just keeps guessing and trying different passwords until it finally gets your password based on the inputs I gave it. Then there's dictionary attack that uses the common passwords that are there on the internet that has been leaked. So, for example, there are people that use password 123 as their password. There are some people that use password as their password. There are some people that use maybe capital P, they use A, they use the dollar sign, they use this common password thinking someone would not know their password. So most of these common passwords are already in a dictionary. So there's what they call dictionary of passwords. So any type of passwords that have been leaked from the internet, either from any cyber attack, some people will put it in a particular dictionary, or the commonly used passwords are in a dictionary. Default passwords are in a dictionary. So they have the list. When I mean dictionary, I don't mean the English dictionary. I mean a database of all those passwords. So they use that database, or this tool uses that database and tries all those things. So if your password is part of those commonly used passwords, then they will gain access to your network or to your account or whatever it is. Then there's also keylogger attacks. So this one tries to monitor. This one most likely is when a malware enters your device, then it watches for your keystrokes. So if you're typing on your keyboard, it does not. If you're typing anything on your keyboard, it does not worry about that. But the moment you're typing a password, if it sees a field where it's saying username, password, the moment you're typing a password, that's if your phone is affected or if your computer is affected, it's monitoring whatever you're typing in your password. So if you press A, if you press X, if you press V, it's monitoring all those things. So it has your password, and with that, they can gain access to your computer or your computing system or to an organizational network. So that is what password attack looks like. Then there's MITM attack, or also known as man in the middle attack. Man in the middle attack. So in this case, attackers sit between communications, okay? They sit between communication between the client and the host, and they try to sort of intercept communication, okay? They try to intercept communication and gain access. So, for example, we have Wi-Fi packets, we have website communication. If your website is not, if you don't have padlock symbol on a website and you are visiting that website, if you put a password, a hacker could be monitoring that website, and anything you put in that website, if you put your credit card details, maybe you put the number of your ATM card, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, the hackers are seeing it clearly. Your CVV, they are seeing it. Your whatever, your card number, they are seeing it. Any password you put, they are just in between that communication between you, your computer, and the website they're trying to access. They are in between, so they are intercepting it. So once they see it, they will keep it. So that is what that type of attack is, man in the middle attack. Then there's SQL injection attack. So I'm sure with time, some of these things might sound complex, or they might sound a bit technical, but when you get to go further in your cybersecurity journey, you would sort of see these things, you will sort of understand them further. So there's SQL injection attack. This is usually SQL is structured query language, and what it does is it injects malicious code into website search boxes to reveal sensitive data. So there are some, if your website is not properly coded, where it's requesting for username, someone could type in a particular code, and then it shows all the usernames of people that have registered on that website and all their passwords. So if those are type of SQL attacks or injection attacks, and then an attacker can view, edit, and delete data in the database. So SQL injection attack makes this possible. So for example, if you registered for something and your name is in a database, they could just go to that database. If they have access to it, they could delete your name, they could put their name. Let's say you put your account number in that database for automated sending of money. Maybe every month the system is supposed to automatically send money to your account. But because the hacker has gained access to the database, they can modify your account number and put in their own and slot in their own. These things have happened. They will slot in their account number, and then it's automatically, at the end of the month, money will automatically be going to that account. And before they notice, it might have been late already. So these things are possible with attacks like this SQL injection attack. Then we have denial of service attack. So this type of attack attacks or targets servers. So it targets servers, it targets networks and floods them with more illegitimate traffic that than they can handle. So what I mean by servers are basically computers. So for those that don't know what servers are or what a server is a computer, but the computer is not accessible to everyone. It's just accessible to certain people, and the server is giving information to other small computers. So I could have a big server like this now, and the purpose of the server could be to release information. Maybe you want to get database. It could be a database server, it could be a web server, could just be to release other information. So my computer could be a server. For example, let's say I have names of people in my organization and I've typed them out on my computer. My computer could be a server, and someone could try to access that data from his own laptop. So this my computer is the server because it's serving out information to other computers. So that's what a server is. So denial of service attack could attack this my computer to bring it down, and once it brings it down, this my computer will not be able to give them the other computers the information they require. Okay, so and maybe this my computer, when I mean network, when I mean this attack floods the network with more illegitimate traffic than they can handle. For example, this my computer that is a server now is supposed to be able to respond to only 1,000 people. Maybe I have 1,000 customers. It's supposed to be able to give information to maybe only 1,500 people. But hackers could make it in a way that it's sending lots of requests, maybe from 1,000,000 people at once. 1,000,000 people are saying, I need this information about this. I need this information. Give me this information right now. So everybody is sending that information at once to that computer. And the computer can only handle 1,000 requests or 1,500 requests at once. So that type of attack would completely bring the computer down, or it will affect the computer. So that is a denial of service attack. The service you needed from the computer will not be gotten because it's being attacked at that moment. So there's also DDoS attack, which is distributed denial of service, DDoS or DDoS as some people might call it. Okay, this one, it happens when the attack is coming from different places, mostly from different countries, different locations, so you can't easily pinpoint where this attack is coming from. So I've explained man in the middle attack before, where hackers sit between the communication. And then you have insider threat. I've explained what insider threat is, where an organizational staff is leaking sensitive information for compensation. Okay, so the error can be by mistake, it could be on purpose. Then we have cryptojacking. There are two different definitions of this cryptojacking, but I always reference it to stealing cryptocurrency and using affected systems to mine crypto. Okay, so cryptojacking could be someone could be trying to use your computer to mine crypto, and when your computer is being used to mine cryptocurrency, your computer gets hot, your computer is affected. And on the other hand, if they are trying to steal your cryptocurrency, if your computer is affected with some form of malware, they could switch up your crypto address, your cryptocurrency address that you're supposed to use to receive money, and then they slot in theirs. So that type of attack, you can also read more about cryptojacking, but it's not commonly used like all these other types that I mentioned. So I want you to take note of most of these attacks that I put in red. The ones in red are the most common types. So the ones that are just in black are the ones they happen, but not as often as the one in red. So 0-day exploit. This is when there's a vulnerability found in a software or an OS, operating system, or a program. So this is usually caused by error in programming, and attackers exploit it before it is being patched. What I mean by patch is before it's being resolved. For example, there's a net, a prison net, for example, a prison net, all these metal prison nets, and there's a hole in that net. Okay, there's a hole in that net, and nobody knows about the hole. Maybe all of a sudden one of the prisoners was passing that side, and then saw that hole or that place that was caught in the net, and the person uses it to escape. So that type of attack is a 0-day exploit, something that nobody knows about. Maybe only one person just all of a sudden finds out that, oh, this thing is there, I can exploit this, I can use this situation to favor me. Okay, So that is a zero day exploit. There's a vulnerability found in a software or a program. So there are lots of times when there have been exploits or zero-day exploits in maybe Microsoft or Windows computer, and they will tell you, please quickly update your computer. They found a zero-day exploit. You need to quickly resolve this right now. So that is what a zero-day exploit is. Then we have watching hole attack. So this one is just infecting popular websites so that when people visit those websites, they get affected with malware. And then there's spoofing. Spoofing is when attacker impersonates someone or something to access sensitive information. So I could send an email to you. This one happens in organizations where you receive an email and it will look like it's coming from the CEO. For example, if your CEO's email is emmanuel@gmail.com, and a hacker can send you an email with that exact email, but it's not coming from your boss, because even though it's the exact same email, but it's because the email has been spoofed, so it will look like the exact same email. So you just need to be careful about some of those things. So there's a type of attack like that, and it's commonly used. There's code injection attacks, there's supply chain attacks, there's DNS tunneling, there's DNS spoofing. DNS means domain name servers. I'm sure with time you would understand some of these things. And there's IoT-based attacks. That's attacks targeted at maybe your home camera. Maybe you have a camera in your house that is just supposed to monitor your baby, or you have one outside your door that's supposed to monitor anything that is happening around. Someone could have access to it and monitor you and watch you through those cameras. Then IoT also means your smart TV is an IoT. Someone could gain access to it. So some of those IoT-based attacks, your smartwatches. Then there's spamming. Spamming, you know what spamming is? When someone just randomly sends you lots of emails or unwarranted messages. Okay, so that's spamming basically. And there's session hijacking. So this one is getting very common. Session hijacking is one way in which I'm sure some people have seen or had the experience, or you might not have had the experience yourself, but you've seen someone that has enabled two-factor authentication on his social media account. Okay, the person has enabled two-factor authentication on his social media account, and all of a sudden someone still gain access to it, but the person never gave the person any code. So how can someone gain access to my account when I have two-factor authentication running? Is usually because of what they call session hijacking. So the hacker gets access to the user's session ID. So if I'm visiting, for example, if I'm on Facebook, okay, if I'm on Facebook, I have a session is what enables me to visit the Facebook website, click on different pages without having to always relog in. Okay, so that's what a session is. Okay, there's what they call a session, there's what they call a cookie. So usually if this thing about session, if there's no sessioning in all these websites we use. For example, now I'm visiting Facebook and I click on groups, Facebook groups, maybe to view the type of groups there. If I want to click on home page, I'll have to log in first or put in my password before accessing the Facebook home page. Let's say I decide to go to Facebook videos or reels. Before I can go to the reels, I have to put in my password. So doing that is just going to be very annoying. The user experience will be really bad. So we have what they call session. So session enables you throughout that time, as long as you've logged in once, you can always do anything and visit any other menu on that particular application. So if the hacker gets access to a user session ID to authenticate the user session with the web application, the person can take control of the user session. Let me explain this further. For example, I might try to enter my room. I might have a room where if I need to enter my room, I don't need to lock my door every time. So I can just open my room door and just enter and take something and then go out. So that's just assume my room is your Facebook account. So you unlocked your room door with your key. So that's like putting your password for your Facebook account. So I've unlocked my room and I entered the room. Maybe I did something in my room and I decide to leave my room. I can leave my room without needing to lock it because I'm in my house. I mean, nothing is supposed to happen. So that's how it is. I can leave my Facebook account. Maybe after I'm done with Facebook, I can just close my browser. I did not log out. I close my browser. But as my room is open, maybe I left the room, someone could maybe enter. Maybe it could be my brother, it could be someone else. It could just enter the room and take something without my permission. So that is how it usually is for session hijacking. Someone could just gain access to, because you didn't log out of your Facebook account, and because if you just log into your browser and click on facebook.com, it will just show you the page. A hacker could gain access to your session and then do something on your account, and then they will leave. Okay, and sometimes they can even gain access of the account permanently. They can lock you out. So imagine my brother now enters my room. He can decide to just lock the room from inside, especially if I leave my key there, or he can do anything. So that is what I'm sure you get the idea of session hijacking. Okay, so that's how session hijacking works. And the best way to prevent it is always to log out from your social media. Once you are done visiting facebook.com on your browser or instagram.com on your browser, log out. Click on log out. Once you're done, when you want to log in again, you log in. And what makes the hacker gain access is if they somehow put a malware on your computer. Is that malware that will enable them to hijack your session ID. So I'm sure I don't want to go further into all these things. As we go further in this course, as you improve your knowledge in cybersecurity, you get to know in depth about all these things. So this is just an introductory course, so I wouldn't want to overwhelm you with every of these things. So I'm just touching most of these things and giving you real life experiences so that you have an idea of how all these things work. Then there's also what they call drive-by attacks. Okay, and we have backdoor. Backdoor is used to bypass standard authentication procedure or to gain unauthorized access. So you know what a backdoor is. If someone enters to your house from the back door, you might not know that someone has entered your house. So that's how a backdoor is. A backdoor is usually maybe a malware. A malware might create a backdoor in your computer, meaning someone can gain access from that place to your computer and access whatever information they want. Okay, so it's a way to bypass standard authentication procedures. So then we have bots. So we see bots these days causing lots of harm. There are bots that are set up to scam people. There are bots that are set up to take down certain services. So a bot could be a software program, and a bot could be used to automate network and internet tasks used for DDoS attacks or distributed denial of service attacks. So there could be bots that will just, like I explained before, if a system is supposed to handle just a small number of requests, bots could be used to maybe request all of a sudden, start requesting for service at the same time. So imagine a bot. Now you have your comment section that is supposed to maybe carry only 400 comments, and then someone uses a bot, or someone could use lots of bots to send over 500,000 comments. I mean, the system will be affected. So or it won't be able to handle the number of requests. So bots could be used for cyber attacks. Then we have cross-site scripting, which is XXS. So this one is injecting malicious code to steal sensitive data and performing unauthorized tasks. Then there's keylogger. I've explained what keylogger is. It's used to capture keystrokes. So there's hardware and software type of keylogger. Hardware keylogger is maybe you carry a USB that you found on the floor. Maybe you say, oh, let me see if there's movies inside, or let me even see what is inside this flash drive. If you plug it in your computer, you might see movies there, but you wouldn't know that what that flash drive is doing is logging your keystroke. It could be taking your password, it could be checking whatever you're typing, or there could be software keyloggers. Maybe you download a software or a malicious software. That software could be acting as a keylogger. So anything you type, it just monitors everything and sends it back to the hacker or the cyber attacker. Now we have internal and external threats. So what are internal threats? Let's look at internal threats. So internal threats relate to the cybersecurity risks that stem from inside any organization to exploit the system or to cause damage. Example, an exited staff, a staff that just left the bank or left the organization, could be an internal threat. The person already has information about the bank. He knows the ins and out of the bank. So insider threats could give information to hackers and say, oh, the password to that account is, or the password to their stuff is ABCD. Use this password to gain access. Or the person could say, or the person could enter the bank and know how to escape, so that security will not see the person, because the person has been in the bank. He can also tell the person, once you go to that bank, if you want to gain access to their vault, all you need to do is go to this place, but be careful. The security man is always there 24/7, but the person leaves to eat at 2 o'clock. So do this, do that. So that's an insider threat. It could be an exited staff, someone that already has knowledge about the whole system. It could be the loss of a laptop. You could lose your laptop. Someone could, for example, if your laptop should get stolen, it could be a form of insider threat, especially when the laptop has lots of sensitive information. And if your laptop is not passworded, okay, it could be a form of internal threat. Sometimes, in case you don't know, even if your laptop is passworded, it could be bypassed. There are softwares that can do that. There are ways to bypass it. So it's still an internal threat. Okay, then there's corrupt drives. Maybe your drives are corrupt, then unregulated downloads. Maybe in your organization, they don't monitor what you download. They just allow people to download whatever they want. People love downloading movies, free movies. And trust me, that's one of the places cyber attackers and hackers have exploited in the past. So all those websites that you feel like you're just downloading movies for free, those things could be harming you. They could be monitoring you, but you wouldn't know. Okay. I'm sure some people have downloaded movies that they will click on this movie and all of a sudden the movie is not opening. You say, but this movie downloaded completely. Why is it not opening? It's because what you downloaded is not a movie. It's not a movie file. It just looks like a movie, but you mostly downloaded a malware or a virus that would affect you. And there's also leaving restricted areas accessible. Okay, maybe you're supposed to lock the door to the vault and you leave it open, or you're supposed to lock a particular place and you forget to lock it, or you leave your card, maybe your access key card, maybe there's a key card that you're supposed to use to access a sensitive area and you just drop it anyhow, maybe on your desk. Someone could just slip and take it and access that area. So these are the internal threats. So if you see this image here, we have network security threats. These are the types of internal threats. We have human threats. Okay, I've explained human threats. We have physical security threats. That's threats to maybe gaining access to places you're not supposed to have access to. There's legal threats. There's social and economic threats. There's other threats. There's communication security threats. So there are different types of internal threats. You would understand some of these things when you go further in your career with cybersecurity. Then we also have external threats. So what are external threats? So external threats are outsider attacks. So it's the individuals from outside the organization attempting to gain unauthorized access to the network of the targeted organization or the individual. So majority of external attacks are intended to steal crucial information through the use of viruses and other malware. So we have external suppliers. They could be maybe someone that supplies to your organization. Maybe the person supplies maybe printers, maybe the person supplies computers, the person could install something on the computer, maybe the person is repairing your computer. There are some organizations that just give any random person, please, our computers are spoiled in our organization, please help us repair it. You don't know who that person is. The person has not signed any documentation, but it's just a random person, maybe from Computer Village. The person could install something on that laptop after repairing it and send it back to you. And what the person installed is going to be doing will be monitoring whatever you're doing. So these are external suppliers, people that supply things. Someone that wants to supply maybe paper could supply paper. As it enters, the person is checking out other things. So these are external threats. You have poor defense. So maybe your cybersecurity posture, you're not setting up controls or tools that will help you detect cybersecurity attacks. That's also an external threat. There's outdated software. Your software is outdated. Someone from outside could gain access to your computer or your systems or your network. There's a cyber attack. That's an external threat. There's exploitation. There's social engineering. So the big question now is, which is more dangerous or concerning, internal threats or external threats? I want you to take a wild guess. Try, which one do you think is more concerning or more dangerous, internal threats or external threats? I'll give you just a second. Okay, so I'm sure you must have picked an answer. If you said external threats, yeah, it's concerning, but it's not as dangerous as internal threats, because internal threats, anything that is happening internally is more dangerous. Because for example, someone in a bank that is giving out information. Maybe the person inside knows the password to a particular sensitive platform and is giving out the password. That is really crazy. Unlike someone that is just trying to guess the password from outside or hack or something, but someone inside already knows the password. So internal threats are usually dangerous, and most organizations that are victims of cyber attacks is because of internal threats that they suffer some of those cyber attacks. So this brings us to the end of module 1. And in module 2, we'll be looking at data protection and privacy. So you can make sure you go through this first module, go through, listen carefully. If you have any questions, you can take note of the questions, then I would answer them in the live sessions or in the comment section. You can just ask, and then I'll go ahead to answer any of those questions. Okay, if you need any resources I referred to would also be linked in the comment section or somewhere. I will link it, or you can also request it and I would find a way to get it across to you. So thank you. I would love to see you in the next module. See you next time. Bye guys.